if there is something that holds up the operation from moving from that incubation stage into a real business, my sense is it's us. It's the organization itself. Let's talk about, where does internal resistance impact innovation?
One of the things when I teach at Keller Graduate School is to tell the students that you have to sell project management every single day. It's not something that people are just going to understand and see the value. You have to do that. So many times there's resistance to the very process that should be enabling that, but that's the project manager's responsibility to promote that and says, this is why I bring value. This is how I can help you meet your objective.
Talk about internal resistance and people that are outside the project, and how does the project manager manage that?
You do a stakeholder analysis, quite frankly, is that there are people that are within the project that you can point to and so forth. I have a sponsor, Rob is going to support me. But there are other people that are outside the project that are not on it that you need to analyze and say, well, are they for me? Are they against me? Are they neutral? And you have to be very specific. If they are on your side, you need to keep them there. You need to pay attention to those that are not on the project, but are really kind of out to get you. Now, if they don't have the influence, then that's fine. You don't have enough time to do that, but you cannot ignore that, and that means that the project manager is a political, I don't want to say beast, but you have to be political. You have to touch all the bases, not just the people internally. Now, you expect your sponsor to manage upward, to give you air cover, but that lateral management, and that doesn't preclude the project manager from managing up too, but you have to look at people not only in the project, that boss that says, where have you been? I need to have that relationship with that boss and says, you know, Pete's going to be on my project and so forth. Take him out to lunch and so forth and establish that relationship.
How did you get into project management? I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of passion for this, and you're running a lot of projects, but where did it come from?
I do. I was, back in 1992, I was working with a major transportation company. We were deploying, that's when everything was regulated by tariffs, and they deregulated the environment, which means, we have to change our internal systems. And we embarked on a 64,000 man-hour software development project.
64,000 man-hours?
Man-hours. In about 2 years, we wanted to get that done, so there was a huge amount of people. And I think I got selected simply because I was the one who would write lists down and says, this is what you have to do. So they said, you're the project manager. And I knew the scheduling tool and
Your
so forth.
desk was probably needed than everybody else's too,
right?
right?
I knew the scheduling tool. After several months, the project was going nowhere. I was spending long hours. I was actually getting killed doing that. And I figured at that time, there has to be a better way to do this. And that's when I went back to graduate school. I went to Keller Graduate School. And the reason being, I had to have something I could use and bring back right away. And once I found the tools and the techniques, I was the cook. You know, just give me the thing to follow and I'll just follow this. But as I evolved in my career, I became a chef. And when I teach now, I take them from cooks to chefs. I enjoy it because I enjoy the excitement of it. I enjoy the change. Some people don't like change, but I absolutely enjoy it. Project managers are essentially control freaks. We like to control everything, which is in direct contradiction to your entrepreneur who wants to do it, but you have to work with that.
Now, it sounds like you went to school, then you got into industry, then you started making lists, but then you went back to school. So
Absolutely.
Was that later in life when you made that?
It was. I went back to school. Interestingly, my undergraduate was in education. I always wanted to teach. I went back to school for two reasons. I wanted to share what I've learned. I didn't want anyone else to go through what I had to go through in that first project. I really didn't. And two things when I teach, I can bring to the class the industry experience, but I also learn from the students. I always say, well, what's happening at your organization? What are you doing? And so forth. So I get that broad industry experience both ways.